Welcome back to text dependent analyses. What we got going tonight is or today rather, is a TDA based on the poem Winter Storm. So let's go over the poem again, real quick. Winter Storm by Leo J. Molnar. The wind came roaring o'er the hill and down the other side, while bending trees bereft of leaves and gave them quite a ride. The roar was so extremely loud, just like unearthly moans. The cold was piercing like a sword, it chilled your very bones. White snow came biting at your face and stung your cold bare hands. At noon became so hard to see, not much like fairylands. It seemed like only yesterday the trees were mauve and gold, and leaves were gently falling down, the days were getting cold. Some leaves just landed on the ground and gathered on the grass, while others held on to the end, each one tried hard to last. Some leaves fell in the nearby brook and sailed away downstream. The current took them quite a ways, they all fulfilled a dream. Some bobbed and weaved in waters rough, some sailed on even keel. A few got shipwrecked on the banks, some hit the water wheel. Those days are gone away, I'm sure, for winter's claimed the land. Till spring shows up again next year, the skies are gray and bland. But now the wind is dying down and peace is in the air. For where the snow and ice hit hard, there is softness there. Large flakes are falling from the sky and slowly sail around. The trees are all covered in white, a blanket on the ground. The snow will last a little while, then slowly disappear. Until we see the next snowfall, I'm sure we'll all be here. So, we had to write something called a text dependent analysis based on that. And let's go ahead and highlight this little bit here, this little bit of mustard. Poets write about topics they feel strongly about. The topic here, the season, right? What is the main idea? What it's mostly about? What's the main idea being expressed in this poem? How does the author support the main idea with key details throughout the text? Write an essay explaining the main idea of the poem you read. Use evidence from the poem to support your response. And then you could have come up with titles. No one actually, at least this year, went with any titles in here. But I'm telling you right now, this is always a good idea. Or if it's a title, you want to capitalize always a good idea. Right? You don't want to throw away the opportunity to tell your reader what your essay is going to be about, because otherwise you're throwing the opportunity away to like put your best foot forward, right? They have to start with a thesis statement or an intention getter. Gross. Make them start with something called a title, and you'll be glad you did. You could have gone with mostly about winter, a wintry appreciation. Here comes winter, a seasonal description, or the winter season, or something else like what some of these writers did. You'll notice it's a TDA, so it's going to have a prompt, a thesis. Then you'll skip a line and have a topic sentence with the context and a quotation that is explained with a minimum of 3 sentences. So let's take a look at the rubric that the state will grade you on, those jerks. All right. And then we will go ahead and say, okay, does this meet what we're supposed to do or no? All right. Here's an exemplar set up the way we look at our other things, right? First, does it answer all parts of the task and show a deep understanding of the text? Strong reference to the main idea and key details to support the writer's response. Well, here's the prompt here. It says, the main idea expressed, well, so far so good, in the poem is that winter is an extremely difficult season when the poet uses wind, cold, and sky imagery, right? Are those good key details? They seem strong to me. Are they strong references to the poem, right? And do they answer all parts of the task, which is having to answer the main idea and talk about the key details? Well, right now, I wonder about the wind, wet, and cold. It doesn't come out and say that those are key details, and I worry about that as far as getting a 4. Maybe answers most part of the task and shows a solid understanding of the text. Then we got our topic sentence. Main idea expressed in the poem is that winter is an extremely difficult season when the poet uses wind imagery. And then it goes and so it gives you a little background before the wind imagery. The poem opens with a description of wind and where the wind is going. Quote, the roar was so extremely loud, just like unearthly moans. So we have this quote, we have this little bit of context. Notice how the context goes. Draw a little arrow for me. the context goes up. It leads up to the quotation. And then around the quotation, you can put little quotation marks. Just like here. Bob, Bob. And then you've got a this noun verb and if and then, and an important. The key details show how the extreme wind is in winter. Then we have an if and then sentence. If the author had used the word whisper instead of roar, then the ferocity of winter would be less central to the poem. Central idea, main idea, good use of synonyms. This important detail helps show that the poem is mostly concerned with how extreme and difficult winter can be for all. So it does seem focused. Now, does it have more than one body paragraph? I'll tell you in orange, no. It only has one body paragraph, so it doesn't have any transitions, which is a problem. So this couldn't get a 4, but it could probably get a 3. Content thoroughly analyzes text to support ideas, accurate and strong evidence from the text using details, quotes, facts, right? Quotes go a long way with these TDAs. And does it have a quote? Oh gosh, yes. The roar was so extremely loud, just like unearthly moans from the poem itself. It's got to be organized, effective introduction. It's got an introduction. Strong organizational structure. It's got strong organizational structure so far, right? Is it appropriate? Is it a skillful use of transitions? There are no transitions, so it's probably going to be a 3. Style, effective use of precise language. I think the language is pretty precise, especially the thesis statement with the wind and cold and sky imagery. So it's pretty good there. Appropriate use is just kind of there, no specific words that relate to winter, like vernal, for instance. So probably a 3 on that. Conventions. There's not too many errors except for maybe lack of a hyphen here. So let's look at some examples from writers, and we'll look at focus first. The main idea is expressed in the poem is that the winter is an extremely difficult season when the poet uses wind, cold, and sky imagery. All right, 3 dots. 1 reason, 2 reason, 3 reasons. Oops, 3 reasons. The main idea expressed in the poem is that winter is an extremely difficult season when the poet uses wind imagery. There's just one of the reasons, not all of them, just one for a whole paragraph. The poem opens with a description of the wind and where the wind is going. The roar was so extremely loud, just like unearthly moans. We got a this noun verb, switch over to green. This key detail shows how the extreme wind is in winter. There's that main idea again. If the author had used the word whisper instead of roar, comma, then the ferocity of winter would be less central to the poem. Let's switch over to blue. This important detail helps show, there we got that word important, that the poem is mostly concerned with how extreme and difficult winter can be for all. This would be between a 3 and a 4, so long as it were 5 paragraphs total at the end. Here's another one. This particular writer passed up on the title. The main idea of this poem is a winter storm. The author supports the main idea of the text with key details. So far, so good, that we could use some idea of what those key details are. So I'm going to put a question mark next to that. Examples of this are white snow and biting at your face. The cold was piercing like a sword, and those days are gone. I'm sure winter claimed the land. Those are 3 fantastic quotes, right? So I'm going to highlight them. White snow, bite your face. The cold was piercing like a sword. Oh, they chose a simile. And those days are gone. I'm sure winter claimed the land. So personification too. So they have these great examples. What don't they do? They don't build on it with a body paragraph, right? Each of those quotes should get its own paragraph this length. Let's check out another example. The main idea of the poem is the winter storm is the wind coming roaring over the hill and down over the other side. This part of the poem, here's this, noun, verb. This part is what? Telling you how bad the winter storm is. White snow came biting at your face and stung your cold eyes bare, right? This is a quote, but it's missing quotation marks, so it seems a little less disorganized, but it's a great quote, so it seems like it's a good choice and aiming at a 4 here. Some leaves now this part of the poem is telling you how cold it is, true, but it's also telling you how it hurts your face. It's It's also telling you that cold comes with snow, right? It's also giving you a way to see it with white. So there's more to say. Some leaves fell the nearby brook and sailed downstream. It seemed like only yesterday the trees were mauve and gold and leaves falling gently down. This is just kind of a collection of quotes. There needs to be more here, right? You want to organize it a bit because it gets in the way of your content. The main idea of this poem is tells you what's happening in the poem. Here's another student poem. This one is definitely good for organization because it looks like it has what it's supposed to have. It has an introduction. Go ahead, switch to purple for me, please. It's got that intro. It's got up body paragraphs, 1 and 2, right? 2 body paragraphs, not so bad. Pretty strong organizational structure here. They indented, they have separate paragraphs. One thing I notice at the end of each paragraph, not too many transition words, which can get in the way. So we can't say it has transitions or any, so it's inconsistent use of transitions at best. So that would probably bring it down to a 3. All right, let's take a look at the essay itself. And along the way, we'll highlight mustard yellow some of the highlights. The poet wrote Winter Storm. It describes the idea that winter is arriving. I like this. Describes the idea that. Well phrased. With countless and multiple descriptions of winter. Perfect. All right. So what I would do is I'm going to put a brown little dot here because I would like it to be a new paragraph then. And it could be a total of 5 after that. You don't need a long intro. You just need to show the reader what it is you're going to write about. All right, let's switch over to purple. White snow came biting at your face, declaring the author saying winter is just right around the corner. Being right around the corner, winter is soon to arrive. Maybe you could say winter is soon to arrive, biting at your face. You want to reference the old quote that she used. All right, Lady Jamona wrote the article Winter Storm, and it's not an article, it's a poem, so we probably want to say poem, in which he describes winter coming. In another part of the article, he declares that fall is ending. In the way he says this with rhymes proves how winter is coming. Well, that's kind of like your job. Like you want to say how you can prove it. So I'm going to circle that part there. In the text, it is written that it seems like only yesterday the trees were mauve and gold. I love this use of quote. Excellent. And the leaves were gently falling down. The days are getting cold, proving fall is ending and winter is slowly coming. Maybe put it this is, because by itself it's not quite a complete sentence. With the leaves falling and the temperatures dropping, comma, maybe even in the snow, comma, we still need to have a complete sentence. So this is what's called a run-on sentence because it doesn't have a clear subject and verb. It seems to be always going. The poet liked to describe winter in thorough detail, in which he wrote to narrate the feeling and surroundings, which in the article the poet writes, quote, stung your cold bare hands soon became hard to see much like fairylands, where he describes the weather, I like this part, and how close winter is soon to be here. Is that what he's saying? Oh, he is, probably right with soon. Maybe we should reference that word soon again. And your hands being cold and frozen due to the cold weather of winter. In conclusion, the way the poet was able to write a description in the head of how winter is to be arriving helps you paint a picture of how close winter is to us. When the leaves fall, and you soon have to get ready for the cold temperatures and snow because winter is here soon to be arriving. I think this is a clear 3, but it's starting to really border on 4 with transitions. It could really be next level. Absolutely on point. Looks like we are finished our revisions for this particular TDA. You can hand this in for 50 more points. Excellent work. Hopefully you've got points on each highlights, all matching all of these slides. And I wish you best of luck on your next TDA. Go get them.